Welcome back. We now head over to the region to look at the headlines there. And we first go to Turkey. And speaking at the 16th Ambassadors Conference, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said his country is moving toward normalizing ties with Armenia in close coordination with Azerbaijan.
He described the South Caucasus as entering a historic period, noting that Armenia and Azerbaijan are closer than ever to a peace agreement and suggesting Ankara could take symbolic steps towards normalization with Yerevan early next year. Well, joining us now is Associate Professor Orkan Valiev, Head of Department at Kazar University. Good morning, Orkan.
Pleasure, good morning.
Thank you for coming in. Now, President Erdogan said the South Caucasus is entering an historic period. What has changed on the ground to support the claim, and how fragile is this moment?
He addressed and described Turkey's vision and the position regarding the Armenian-Azerbaijan peace negotiation process. I think it's normal because we have the historic 2 points. The first of all, Abu Dhabi, the bilateral meeting between both sides leaders, and also Washington summit. They initialed the peace agreement there. So proposed the steps because it's considered as the steps towards a final peace between two sides. So in that sense, as President Erdogan mentioned that we are moving to normalize relations with Armenia, but in dialogue with Azerbaijan. I think it's a critical point because Turkey has been keeping its position, or let's say dialogue with Azerbaijan, since 1990s. It was in the first war and also during the Second Karabakh War and after the process right after the Second Karabakh War. But however, as President Erdogan mentioned, yes, we have a geopolitical shift in this region, in the region regionally. So. For example, let's say we have the Trump Road, which is named the Trump Road and includes prosperity, right? So as the both leaders mentioned in Washington in an interview that it will just bring a huge opportunity for being transit region. Transit makes the region as a transit hub from the east to the west. And also, as again the President Erdogan mentioned that if I'm mistaken, TRT votes the forum, the vote is changed. So in this sense, therefore the states won't be able to limit themselves within their own territory. So regional cooperation will be an inevitable solution for the states. So therefore, I think this normalization process will bring the benefit to the entire region, including not just Armenia, Azerbaijan, Georgia, and also, as President Aliyev or Erdogan mentioned, that will include the 3+3 as well, for example. By the way, as you know, the President Aliyev was in Tashkent, and Azerbaijan became the full member. Within the greater Central Asian region, and it's much more economic issue. So it is just the great hope that economy is becoming something, and it replaces the conflict. And they will facilitate to the cooperation. They will facilitate to sign a peace agreement as well. So I think, and also we can say that yes, thanks to Erdogan's the statements. Ankara, Baku has the same position, came from the 1990s, that the recognition of the territorial integrity of Azerbaijan, which is the main, requirements from Baku sides, and is met by the Ankara as well, that focuses the certain issue that they should make an amendment on the constitution regarding the recognition of Azerbaijan, territory of Azerbaijan, territorial integrity. So in that sense, yes, I think it is a positive the step.
And can I just say, sorry, Orkan, you've given us so much information in that first answer. I just want to tie together Turkey and Armenia normalization, just because of seeing that come together to the Armenia-Azerbaijan peace process. Is Ankara, would you say, helping regional stability or limiting its diplomatic flexibility?
Of course. Certainly, for example, both sides appointed the new representatives. For example, because of the conflict, because of the invasion during the 1990s and the early part of the 2000s, the three sides forgot to be physical in their lands. We have passed this process actually. For example, the both sides, including Armenia and Azerbaijan's representatives, delegations were in both countries. As well, the Azerbaijan and Armenian delegations visit the both sides, so Baku and Yerevan. I think it is as my dear colleague Rusif mentioned, that it is just historic, but in the coming years maybe it's become normal. So in that sense, yes, of course, Turkey, the position is much more important. So Turkey's positive reaction, I think, will contribute to establish the final peace in the region.
And when Erdogan talks about symbolic steps, what could that realistically mean? How much impact can symbolic steps have on the region?
As I mentioned, yes, the process started actually right after the Second Karabakh War and culminated over the years within different perspectives. So, and also the bilateral meeting, for example, before the bilateral meeting, the Pashinyan visited Ankara, for example, or Istanbul, if I'm not mistaken, met with Erdogan, for example. So it seems that, yes, Armenia consider the Turkey as well, not just Azerbaijan. So, and also they met in Washington. So it's just a long process. So Turkey's position is, has certain consideration. So because, the Second Karabakh War changed the situation. We have just a new breakthrough in the region. So, for example, Russia is not the main dominant the power in the region. Turkey is here as well, not just for the members of the Turkic world, also NATO member as well, for example. So, in that sense, the Turkey's position and contribution, I think, is much more important.
And just on that, when do you think Turkey's approach increased pressure on Armenia to basically reach a peace deal with Azerbaijan, or does it give Yerevan clearer incentives to move forward? So does it help or does it hinder?
Actually, I wouldn't say it's pressure, because it's just a clear requirement. For example, recognition territorial integrity of Azerbaijan, because we need the certain, the steps towards that process, because Azerbaijan just simply is recognized by international law. So we just need, so that Ankara is saying that, okay, we did many things, appointed the representatives and so on, but we need just certain steps towards the recognition process, territorial integrity. And I think, yes, we have the positive steps from Armenian side, Yerevan, and in terms of Prime Minister and some the experts. So I'm not negative, I'm positive regarding that. And also because, we need that. This peace process, as President Ali mentioned many times, for example, one of them in Shusha at the forum. So the region needs the peace, so Armenia's position will be decisive.
Thank you very much, Orkan,
My pleasure.
for your insights today.
Thank you.
Orkan Valiyev, Head of Department at Kazar University there.